Hello there, we are live from our studios here in Kukumlimle on digital address GA0992539. It's your home of fearless, credible and independent journalism. Our lead stories this hour. President Akufo-Addo orders a public inquiry. Opinion leaders in EJURA call for calm to negotiate peaceful resolution to the ongoing impasse following the killing of 2 people by a team of military men yesterday. We're live on the ground as one of the injured is transferred to Komfo-Anokye, and the Interior Minister and Inspector General of Police answer questions to the Public Accounts Committee on appropriate policing during riots. And Criminal Investigative Department of Police list 20 individuals in relation to the BULLION van attacks in the country. We hear him as he announces that 20-year robbery conviction each for 3 people who will also be charged for murder of the Mfantiman Member of Parliament.
Obina.
Details of that and more coming up. Also, Accra Metropolitan Authority officials storm meat shop at London Market here in Accra. We have details from today's Clean Ghana campaign a week after Aveno slaughterhouse operation.
The law court, for all of you operating here, nobody has any health certificate. You don't.
Health certificate.
Can I see yours?
The health certificate.
Can I see yours?
It has expired.
Yeah, yes. No. You say you have it. Look at this. This is 2015.
And the Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. You can join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. We're streaming live on YouTube and on our social media handles. My name is Gifty Andopia. This is the Pulse. Please be my guest. I'll take you through the details of those stories now. President Akufo-Addo has instructed the Minister for Interior, Mr. Ambrose Derry, to conduct a public inquiry into the circumstances that led to the shooting and killing of 2 protesters at EJURA yesterday. The statement signed by a Director of Communications at the Office of the President reads, and I take a look at the details for you now. It says, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has instructed the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, to conduct forthwith a public inquiry into the circumstances that led to the unfortunate occurrences of Tuesday, 29th of June, 2021. The Interior Minister is to provide a detailed report from the inquiry with recommendations for appropriate action within 10 days, i.e., by the 9th of July 2021 to President Akufo-Addo. The President is deeply saddened by the deaths of Ibrahim Mohammed alias Kaka, Abdul Nasir Yusuf and Murtala Mohammed. He extends sincere condolences to the family of the deceased and wishes the injured a speedy recovery. It is signed by Eugene Ahin, the Acting Director of Communications at the Office of the President. Now, government has meanwhile condemned circumstances surrounding the protest and the killing of the 2. Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah says a probe will be instituted to get to the bottom of the issue.
The suspected murder of Ibrahim Mohammed, popularly called Kaka, and the subsequent death of 2 others, coupled with the injury of at least 3 more persons during youth protests after his burial, are terribly, terribly unfortunate and condemnable. We commiserate with the victims, the families, the loved ones, and the people of EJURA. Our security agencies should be quick and clinical in getting to the bottom of this and other unresolved crimes. Now, while we understand that police investigations sometimes take a while, it does not instill confidence in the population if such acts go unresolved and unpunished quickly. So the police need to get to the bottom of this, and justice must be done. Also, a credible investigation needs to be conducted into the crowd rioting and crowd control incident of the 29th of June. This is necessary to bring clarity to the sequence of events and to ensure that if any persons acted inappropriately, those persons are punished. We've also read and seen videos, I think this morning, from youth groups and family members who are admonishing politicians and other social groups who want to be opportunistic about this very sad incident to back off. And I think we can all agree with them. Let's deal with the purely criminal matter and get justice done for Kaka.
Information Minister Kojo Opong Nkrumah. Meanwhile, a 19-year-old man is fighting for his life in what hospital authorities say is as a result of the extent of damage caused to his organs after he was shot by a military man yesterday in EJURA. The unidentified man is one of 4 persons who sustained various degrees of injury after yesterday's bloody protest that left 2 dead. Angry youth of the town had been on the streets protesting the killing of activist and Fix the Country campaigner Ibrahim Mohammed. Medical Superintendent Dr. Mensa Manye tells my colleague Erasta Sasaridonko the hospital lacks the equipment to conduct the surgery needed on the victim.
I would like to get the medical superintendent himself, Dr. Mensa Manye, to speak to us about their condition at the moment. Good morning, Doc, and welcome to News Desk on Joy News.
Fine morning.
Well, tell us, what is the status of those who were injured and on admission at the moment?
Generally, they are all stable. I think yesterday I had to even discharge 2 of them because of their stability. Or the degree of injury was not so much severe, so I discharged 2 of them. The other 2, theirs were serious. Yesterday, after the incident, I then went back to explore or to actually reassess the extent of injury. I realized the 90-year-old boy, the injury he had at the back of the waist, opening in front of the abdomen, was bleeding profusely, so I suspected an internal organ injury. So quickly, what I did was, that's why he was stable, talking to us, I deemed it necessary to refer to Kofanochi for further investigation and management. Not that it posed some threat of maybe, losing his life, but I deem it necessary to explore. CT scan could be to be done there. We are limited. We could only do the X-ray, which we have done already. So I refer for further investigation and management. But I communicated that he's also very stable, responding to treatment.
So currently you have 1 person on admission and you intend to refer that one as well to Kofanochi Teaching Hospital. Is that correct?
Correct. That person had multiple fractures around the femur. So that's the right femur, that's the right thigh bone, which is very serious. Such a fracture requires an orthopedic surgeon to manage. We have limitation, or we have our threshold. Where it got to, I need to refer it to Kofanochi for further investigation and management. They will also do their necessary operation there. So that's where we are now. However, a quick one, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you people for the nice interaction and your coverage. But I want to really re-emphasize and defute the allegation of money collection in the hospital. There was no one paid a peswa. Even as of the treatment we have given, the infusion, the injection, no one paid a peswa. There was no peswa collected by the hospital from the injured victims or from the relatives. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Mensa Manye is the medical superintendent for the EJURA Government Hospital. Now, if you're seeing the small crowd here, they were brought in or accompanied by the chief of EJURA, who has just visited the people who are on admission at the moment. I do have his Nifahine here with us still. I will speak with him briefly on what the visit was about and the assurance of the chiefs of continued peace in EJURA. Good morning, sir. Your name, sir?
Good morning. I'm Nana Osei Kojo Ansebi, the Nifahine of EJURA.
We've seen the chief of EJURA here this morning. What's the purpose of the visit?
He came in to visit the injured, those who are hospitalized and also interact with the hospital management on the way so far, and then also those who have been referred to Kumasi, how they are faring.
How does Nananum feel about what has been happening from 3 days ago coming to today?
Sad, very sad, and very unfortunate. Because for people to spill their blood on the land is nothing so cheap. And Nananum, in particular, Burma Osevidi, it so happened that everything occurred whilst he was in town. And we are really sad and determined that whatever caused it will be unearthed, and the appropriate action will be taken. And also pray that it doesn't happen again.
And Nananum interested in demanding justice, I mean, on the part of the military men, if any, on how they handled the situation?
Now, what has happened is an operation they conducted. What I know is that any operation or exercise of this nature, at the end of the day, they submit their report to the authorities that be. The military to the military, the police to the police. What I know is that in the report, if the authorities have any reason at all to believe that somebody went out of the professional instructions, or somebody was unprofessional in his activities, the appropriate sanctions will be taken against him. Nananum and Burma has assured that he will follow up, whether it is the military, whether it is the police, whether it is whatever. But then we do not want to, as it were, create the impression that it's the military who have gone out on a shooting spree, killing people or destroying or attacking people. We want to disabuse the public's mind on it.
But how does Nananum feel about what happened? Do they think that there were excesses? They went beyond what you were expecting to happen on the streets?
Now we cannot pass judgment on as to whether they went excesses or not, because we were not with them in at the time of the incident. And like I said, the military normally will not go out of its way to start shooting. But I believe this is not the time to apportion blame. Whether they were right, whether they are wrong, the appropriate authorities will take action. I want to believe that the whole incident will be investigated. But for now, what we want, that we should have peace. Because if there's no calm, if there's no peace, people cannot go about their duties, and then the police even cannot do any investigations in the heat of the crisis.
So before you go, currently we are seeing relatively calm on the streets of EJURA. What is the role of Nananum at the moment in ensuring that it stays this way?
We're continuing with what Burma EJURA started with the elders. That is speaking with the appropriate people, the youth, the leadership, the chief imam, the Zongo chief, anybody at all who can help to restore peace. That is what we are doing. So we have a lot of interaction. For instance, I just met with the census team to encourage them to continue with their duties, and that the situation is calm. The security agencies, they are in town, and nobody is confronting them, no riot with them, no confrontation with them. So we believe that the appeals that have been coming from our chief and then other opinion leaders, people will adhere to that one, and things will continue to be calm.
We are grateful for your time, Nana. And that's the Nifahene of EJURA. He followed the chief of EJURA to come and see the people who are on admission here at the hospital. He has also donated 5,000 Ghana cedis each to the people who are injured to take care of some of their medical expenses. And he promised to see those who are bereaved as well, to talk it over and find some sort of support for them as well. So on the streets of EJURA at the moment, we have the military, we have the police patrolling the streets with their men. And I must say that it's relatively very calm on the streets with people going about their normal duties. Benis.
So that's Erastus Asari Donko. Now, family of another victim are also demanding justice. 25-year-old Abdul Nasir Yusuf was shot in the left shoulder and the chest. He's said to have had internal bleeding in the chest and then died before arriving at the hospital. His brother, Isahaku Abubakari, says the family wants the perpetrators brought to book. We can go live now to my colleague Erastus Asari Donko, who is at EJURA, for the very latest. To you can't shortly so we can understand exactly what is going on there. But if you're just joining in, President Akufo-Addo has issued an instruction to the Interior Minister asking him to undertake a public inquiry into the incidents of yesterday in EJURA. Well, several people have been talking about this, several people, including the Minister for Information. And today at the Public Accounts Committee, the Interior Minister himself and the IGP have been answering questions. Let's talk to Erastus right now as we go on with the other stories. Hello, Erastus.
Yeah, Gifty.
Erastus, we understand that there's relative calm in the town. But before we get to that, help us understand what we just saw in the video that you played for us, the women with the Quran.
Yes, so we started going on rounds with the MP for EJURA, Secretary Dumase, Bawa Brahima. And on some of his visits, we visited the home of Kaka, the originally deceased person which called in this protest. Yeah. So if you see that in the video, that is the family of Kaka, the wife, the children, and some of his family members who are holding Quran. They met us at the gate and said they won't swear with their Qurans. And the person, brother, to the police who has been arrested by the police in connection with his death is innocent. They claim that there is a woman in the house who told the police that it was the brother who is called Idi, who has a hand in the death of the brother.
Well, Erastus, let's talk about the atmosphere in the community at the moment. Explain to us the relative calm that the town is experiencing now. Hello, Erastus, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Erastus, talk to us about the relative calm. We'll try and put the sound on the conversation you had with Mr. Kaka's family, but talk to us about the calm at the moment in the town.
I must say it's an uneasy calm. And if you see the undertones coming in from the family home, then you know that is an uneasy calm. People are going about their normal duties. It's even trying to rain right now here. It's a very cloudy, gloomy weather here with people going about their normal duties. But with that gloomy, atmosphere hanging over the town, you could see clearly that once vibrant EJURA, which is a commercial hub for many selling yam and other foodstuffs, today was not itself as people try to come to terms with what has been happening in the past 3 days. So on the streets, you will not see the youth doing that protest. Everybody is minding his own business. But then when you move into the homes and you start speaking with them, then they start telling you about their frustration, their anger with what has happened and the 2 people who have just been slain by the military.
We knew that 4 people were at the hospital. 2 of them, the doctor says he has discharged. 1 of them has been transferred to the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. I don't know if we have an update on the person at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, but there should be 1 more person. Do we know anything about this person now?
Yes, they discharged 2. 2 were on admission. 1 was transferred yesterday to the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. We understand he's responding to treatment. The other one who we witnessed still on admission here has also been transferred by ambulance this afternoon to the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital because the doctor said he needed some specialist examination to go on within the boy who has a fractured thigh. And so that has been done. So currently we do not have any of the injured at the EJURA Government Hospital. They've all been transferred to Kumasi.
Right, Erastus, thank you very much. If there's anything else that we ought to share with our viewers, do update us on that. Otherwise, we'll leave you for now.
Well, so the update is that 1 person has been arrested this afternoon. It makes 3 arrested in connection with the death of Ibrahim Mohammed, popularly known as Kaka. The other person, who is called Idi, is a brother to the deceased, and that is what the family says. He cannot be held for the death of his own brother. So that's the update here at EJURA for now.
Erastus, thank you very much. And we'll be going back to Erastus to get his interaction with the family of Kaka. In the meantime, the director at the Faculty of Academic Affairs and Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center has warned of the potential recurrences if nothing is done to address the concerns of the youth. Professor Kwesi Enning spoke on PM Express last night.
Creates a disturbing picture of youth, kids who are furious, who think their lives are not worth living, and therefore they will take the risk of attacking, a police vehicle. The symbolism in that, when armed officials run away from unarmed civilians, is that order is beginning to break down. And it sends a very clear signal that were we to organize much better, we will be able to have more victories. So when we juxtapose the two, what the conclusion one can make is that we are heading towards a tipping point in which a combination of frustrations, a sense of exclusion, and an in-depth and a growing sense of anger and a willingness to strike a blow against the state, irrespective of the outcome, is beginning to bubble to the fore. Now, this is something that we need to look at, and we need to pull back from the brink. Because when unarmed civilians decide to attack representatives of the state, that is a specific, deliberate decision that those people have made. And they've made it because they feel that life is not worth living, that they need to make their voices heard, and they are willing to bear the consequences of their actions.
Well, is that how you feel as well? Do you feel like there's nothing more to live for? Well, let's hear from you on our social media handles. I want to take you back to EJURA, where Erastus Asaridoko has been interacting with Kaka's family.
Okay, so what these women are saying is that the police say they've arrested 3 people. One of them is a brother to the deceased, and his name is Idi, and he lives in this room. And what they are saying is that they are swearing by the Quran, and these are his children. That's the late Kaka, his children, and they are swearing all by the Quran that Idi, who is a brother to the deceased Kaka, cannot be the one who murdered his own brother, and that is why they are crying. These are the children of the late Kaka, and this is the wife of the late Kaka. Let me briefly speak to her.
Sister na oka se mikunu bra na ku mikunu no tama wo pie no a me bisa ne se de na sie no onu si woni ma de asie e de na wa hu se mi bra yire no mi bra mikunu bra na ku mi bra no e se mi wo benya na me no na mi odem na wo benya na me na mi bisa se de be na esi wo si BBC wa ha se mi si de be wo si BBC nti wo wa hu de asi ya na mi wa mbo me amane Sanka obeti maka say oh ma ho asima sise e buuku no nso wo pia me bisa wo say die be na sie wo si woni madukro mi nkwohwe ahwe mi koye na mi kunu ne da ho no aha nso ma mi biti fie ha say o si an ma chitu wa pia o ya alwala nti wo kutu ho wa ho say mbranti emienu e di emilika e fa ni say nti e wo ho na wati say kasakasa bi wo fie na si nkronfo na abewia wo fie na wa no nkura ne suru aka no na wura dem nti ade echi na wati se enye kronfo obi na abebu mikunu aye ne sa juma no nti anka mikunu bra pa na beti me aye ne sa wo boa wo twanturo won bra na yan kuta Qur'ani won bra na yan kuta Qur'ani wo boa aba ne amienu na ya sisa ade atu ho no wo boa anya mikunu bra ni bra enni asambia ni din di sa da hudu.
So Saada Gudu is the wife of the late Kaka, and this is what she's saying in translation, is that there is a woman in this house whose account has led to the arrest of Idi, who is a brother to the deceased, and he's one of the 3 people the police say they have arrested in connection with the murder of Kaka. Now, she is quoting another woman who lives nearby, are saying that on that fateful day, she saw 2 men running around the neighborhood and coming to this house and engaging her husband in exchanges. And it was after that they saw the husband lying in a pool of blood. And so she wants this woman who has since fled the community to come forward so they can use the Quran to swear an oath whether indeed she's telling the truth, because she doesn't believe that brother to the deceased indeed murdered his own brother. And now he's saying that on that fateful day when she was called in her room, she was sleeping, she came out and found out that the husband was in a pool of blood. She asked the same woman whose account has led to the arrest of the brother, and she said she didn't know what was happening. So how come she didn't tell her what was happening? So you could see the children in tears at this moment, and it is an emotional moment for them. And especially when the police say they've arrested 3 people, what we are picking is that one of them is called Idi. Idi is a brother to the late Kaka. Let me find out from the children why they are crying at the moment.
Me anaje no kra na me da anopa tutu na me mam soro me ka che me se obi aba be ku me pa obi aba be bu me papa me pie ba ya me hu moja no na me timi ngina na me su pa police phone number be ye hwe na onu kra no onim hwe kra moja no on na che me se na me se be papa no mi papa no kra na me ntimi na me nsa wo so na o se ni je obeja papa mam enu nsi de enu o che me se na me se be papa moja no enu ma papa ni ye onu kwa ne si mi de me nim de si bi onu ne ka se on the castle opinion and on say abana from any of my journey. The day say de minibio.
Well, so she's saying that on that fateful day when she saw her father in a pool of blood, she couldn't handle it. She was crying all over. It was that woman whose account has led to the arrest of one ED. She is the one who showed her how to even clean the blood. So she was the one who cleaned her father's blood that fateful day. Saying that, yeah, so one saw who saw Papa da muja, na one out Papa muja. Ut kaya, dear,
Moja mahuni so da moja mo na me da me ma me pese won sori me na me nsu ntim anopatututu no onya ne mi na o se me mbehwe moja no an me nua ketu no ka me bisa ne se adem bibisi ya na onu so no asori sa na dwono o se ani akola kitikiti kura oni nyansa ene o ka che me se papa atofom me se hi onu na twi me se ko che me moja na me ma me gina ho na ehwe no o che me moja ne na mi su so toy in moja no haye fin en mina na se mpepa en misuma people moja ni.
So she's saying that she did not see the father in the pool of blood, but she saw the blood after her father has been taken away, and she was the one who cleaned the remnants of the blood, her father's blood, on the floor. Okay, so yeah, your papa sa Diana. Emma Philly.
Me feel bad pa. Feel bad pa. Justice. If you share justice, I say, Omunchidi or Mukon Papa, me assure say, me and Yamin Brand Kono. Me assure say, you no Kono. Tam na or teacher, baby, and you edu social media, no more catch and say one jay on Bekono. Now, so one catcher, I say, MP Panadian, almost on Bekono, and no more Kono, no more Kono to Hoko. More Kono, a jay. A jay woman, I'm Kuran Becca Samae, a Jana Manyami.
What did you say? How old are you?
12.
How old is she?
12 years.
12 years. How old are you?
17.
17. What about you?
I'm 15.
15. And how old are you?
13.
How old are you?
8.
And is this small one also part of them? How old is she?
2.5.
2.5. So the youngest of them is 2.5. And the oldest is how old?
15.
15. And these are the children left behind by Kaka, whose death has brought in this lot of protest on the streets of EJURA. And all they are asking, holding their Qurans this afternoon, is that they get justice for the death of their father. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, EJURA, Ashanti region.
Well, it's been a running story, as you're well aware of. The Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, says government does not have an interest in infringing on the rights of citizens to demonstrate. He's been defending the police's response to various demonstrations with court actions, insisting it is part of government's efforts to protect the citizenry. Responding to questions before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, he warned that extremists could sometimes infiltrate the ranks of demonstrators if they are not held according to law and guided by police. He says government will both protect the rights of demonstrators and the citizenry.
Now, before you come in, I would just love, I asked a specific question about a manual, whether, so you have the manual, and with your explanation and with what we have seen, what our constituents have told us, it appears that the Ghana Police Force always starts with maximum lethal force in quelling any demonstration. And don't you have a responsibility as the police service to be able to contain the individuals that you point out in the crowd may have offensive weapons, to contain them and handle that threat than to expose the entire crowd to the use of maximum lethal force? Because when you use the US example, they've got the verbal warning that you speak about, they've got the physical restraint, then they've got what they call minimal lethal force, before the use of maximum lethal force. Our police service in Ghana appears to always start or lead with lethal force.
Honorable Chairman, with the greatest respect, I will not refer to the US for any good examples of dealing with suspects. I would not. I cannot breathe in that thing. Ghana police should not get to that level. Please.
Minister, our member for EJURA is not here today because of actions that were taken in EJURA yesterday. And please, so if you want to talk about policing,
please.
We saw police officers on display at EJURA yesterday, so be minded by that.
Please, Honorable Chairman, I thought that we're asking questions to get explanations. And let me talk. The IGP would be addressing the issues of EJURA after this. And I think that we should allow that. Let me say that I, at various levels, as a citizen, as a lawyer, we have had problems over the years. George, you may, my nephew, you may listen. We've had problems over the years. We've been part of demonstrations. As students, we've suffered a lot of, beatings and all that. It is a thing that I am passionate about checking. The right to demonstrate in Ghana must be respected, and government is committed to doing that. No question. Listen well, listen well. There's a misunderstanding. Nobody asks anybody to apply to the police for a permit to demonstrate. No. You give notice to the police because the government has a duty to protect you during the demonstration. So when you go to them, what you'll be discussing are the routes, and then we provide police to shepherd you. One of the reasons being that when the police are with you, they are able to detect some of these infiltrators who are not most of the time under the control of the main organizers. But we've had a problem. The problem has always been that when it happens, the investigations about who did what becomes a problem. Honorable Chairman, if I may. Honorable Chairman, I think this is a serious matter. We have a proposal, even before, while we deal with this, that we need a piece of equipment that is very, very critical. Body cams. Body cams. We need them to put them on our security personnel. It will give us a video of what transpired at the critical times for us to be able to tell who exactly did what. The standard police procedures are in place. But Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chairman, let me sound that we are, you see, honorable members, these are,
shall we listen to the minister?
You see, please. We are in very critical conditions, seriously. Look, we shouldn't rule out that extremists can use our demonstrations to cause problems. We shouldn't rule that out at all. And it's not going to benefit any of us here. If a police is found to have dealt unfairly with any person, I and the rest of us should be. Who are they demonstrating? They are our children. The youth of this country, they are our children. So who is going to come out of that? But sometimes we need to educate ourselves about what the issues are. Look, he would address EJURA, and at the end of the day, you get.
An Interior Minister kept saying that the IGP will address the matter. He definitely will. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, and he's joining me from Parliament. Hello, Joseph. What has the IGP been saying to the concerns raised by Honorable Sam George, especially about what happened in EJURA?
Funny enough, Gifty, he didn't specifically address the concern having to do with the EJURA constituency killing that happened yesterday. The question to him from the Ningo Prampram MP Samuel George was to seek clarity on whether there is a manual that actually guides how the police service goes about their various processes when it comes to managing crowd during various demonstrations. And Mr. George then made the point that on a number of occasions, the police have acted in ways that are very much out of place, and they've used lethal force to actually specifically respond to some of these protests at the very early stage. And so he sought that clarity from him. So it was in the course of the conversation that the Interior Minister defended how the police has usually reacted under some of those circumstances. And in the course of the Interior Minister's defense, then Mr. George sought to draw an example out of what he had said, and said that even how the police acted in EJURA was very much out of place. But Mr. James Opombuenu has been explaining to members of the Public Accounts Committee that there's actually a manual that the police use when it comes to controlling crowd. And that manual is very categorical that at first, if they want to disperse members of any demonstrating team, they first need to talk to them, and it's only when they see them make use of any form of arms in how they are responding to the police that the police would have the right to fire back.
On the use of force, normally you speak to the people through a megaphone, or you shout if they can hear you, and you spray water, you throw tear gas, and then you use blank ammo, and then eventually you use live ammo. But Honorable Chair, you and I know that in very fluid situations, there's no hard and fast rules when the lives of the police officers are threatened, that they should go through all this. So depending on the nature of the situation you are dealing with, then you can go through all these motions. Let me add that if you are dealing with unarmed demonstrators, then you will not go for live ammo. But when you see somebody in the rioters or crowd holding a weapon or an implement which can or is capable of being used to kill a police officer or to injure him seriously, our laws permit us to use lethal force to prevent, to eliminate that threat to the officers on duty at that point. So it depends on the situation you are dealing with. If people are just like students who are demonstrating, they are just shouting and singing, you will not use live ammo. But when you have a situation that people have implements adapted for serious injuries to the officers or to kill the officers, definitely the laws or our regulation permit that you use live ammo.
Thank you, IGP. Okay.
I believe that when you are dealing with a situation where it is an unlawful demonstration, if you are dealing with situations where people are on unlawful demonstration and they are armed, definitely, and what people don't know is that A may be armed, B may not. B may not know that A is armed. So being in the crowd does not necessarily mean that you know what is happening. But technically, you are responsible for whatever the person is doing. So we take steps to eliminate that threat to the officers who are on duty at any particular time.
Inspector General of Police James Opombuenu there with the Interior Minister. Joseph is still there with us. Well, the minority in Parliament has rejected a directive by the President for a committee of inquiry to be established to look into the killings in EJURA. And addressing a media briefing in Parliament House a short while ago, the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, said they'd rather see a presidential commission of inquiry and not a ministerial committee. He says the Ministry of Interior is already complicit and cannot be counted on to oversee a fair investigation. Like I said, Joseph will join me again, but listen to Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader.
Is the worrying absorption into the security agencies, in particular the police and the Ghana Armed Forces, of MPP apparatchiks vigilantes They are not professional. They can never be professional. You know their modus operandi as they chase even MPP ministers out. We are not surprised that they may be at the center of this. Understandably, we have heard President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo instruct the Minister for Interior for a commission of inquiry into this matter. The President must accept full responsibility for reducing this country to a police state. No respect for fundamental human rights and freedoms, no respect for the dignity of man, no respect for the liberty of Ghanaian citizens, and no respect to the constitutionally guaranteed right to life, which is a first-generation guaranteed constitutional right. The excess of the military and the police in EJURA, resulting in the lives of 3 other persons added to Ibrahim Mohammed Kaka. The President's instruction is for a ministerial commission of inquiry. We reject it. That is not good enough. We want a commission of inquiry within the meaning of Article 278 of the 1992 Constitution. The President must appoint a sole commissioner or 2 or more persons to support a commissioner, just like the Emil Short Commission on Ayawaso Wagon. We want that type of commission of inquiry, not a ministerial commission of inquiry. There is complicity of state security agencies. They cannot absolve themselves. Want to see the President appoint a justice of the Superior Court or a retired justice of the Supreme Court to lead this process, because ultimately we will accept recommendations that calls for reforms. Let me use this opportunity to call on the youth who are acting out of frustrations, who are acting out of a helpless situation, that they should not let this generate into an anomalous situation in Ghana, a situation of normlessness. Whilst government must take the needed steps to address the growing unemployment and the growing economic hardships in our country, we find the deaths regrettable. We extend our profound sympathies and condolences to the bereaved family, but we are calling for restraint on the part of the EJURA youth and other youth across Ghana. As for the demand to fix the country, the revolution of it continues, and the consciousness of it continues. This maiming and killing will not stop it until right is done for that purpose. I'll be happy to take a few questions from you, and God bless for listening. We want a commission of inquiry established within the meaning of Article 278 of the 1992 Constitution to provide an illumination on the happenings in EJURA. We cannot accept any further loss of lives in Ghana in the name of persons protesting the hardships in the country and in the name of persons protesting the unprofessional conduct of men in uniform. I'll be happy to take your questions.
The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, there addressing a press conference in Parliament. Joseph will still join us shortly. But what do you think? We posted this on our social media handle, the statement from President Akufo-Addo, and let's take a look at some of your responses or what you think about this. Teacher Mante says, the truth is we have read more and more of such statements, and not for one, can I say, have yielded an outcome that is worth discussing. It is rather a way of covering up issues in this country. If you would be honest, tell me what happened to the full recommendations of the Emil Short Commission of Inquiry on the disturbing occurrence at Ayawaso. This is apparently nothing new. Young Arthur says, so no, we go here. At the end, nothing will happen. God bless Akufo-Addo for letting all Ghanaians down, and if God truly exists, he will judge us all. Chum Francis says, but COP Duku details led to shooting incidents. So why another committee to drink tea? Waste of taxpayers' money. Nayav Kamona says the white paper day for him to be issued after all. Basalba Knight says the offenders will even be promoted. Kinzology says, well, you have some very harsh words that we do not condone on this platform. God knows says, as usual. Lucy Pess. SZ Yankee says, nothing good will come out of it. Abrantia Julia says, always paperwork. Dennis White Gold, what do you need again, Nana? All this is Azan. But Sauba again says it will come to naught. So many of you do not seem to have a lot of confidence in a public inquiry. But, well, we'll see how that one goes. Joseph is in Parliament. Joseph, so the minority has already rubbished the statement from the presidency. They actually do not think this is what we need at the moment. I am certain there was a response from the majority side, wasn't there?
We're waiting to hear from them officially on what their response to this will be, except that a lot of them have given the indication that they think the move by the president is very much in order in terms of ordering for an investigation into this. And they're citing previous commissions that have been established, including what had to do with the Ayawaso West Wagon election, which made a number of recommendations. That the point they make is, if it's even about controlling crowd and all of that, that comes in handy in terms of what possible recommendations should be. And so for a lot of them, they think that this is something that should focus in terms of an investigation into what specifically happened yesterday, and a committee handling that would very much be in order as far as probing yesterday's incident is concerned. But we're waiting to hear from them officially on what their response to this would be.
Looks like a lot going on in Parliament. I mean, there is the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee that's meeting. We've seen Kojo Nkrumah show up. Of course, we've seen the Interior Minister and the IGP show up. We're expecting Ken Oforiatta, the Finance Minister, to also show up. Wrap it up for us. What's been happening at the PAC, as well as what else is happening in Parliament?
And so at the sitting of the Public Accounts Committee, we had officials from the Ghana Revenue Authority appear with Deputy Finance Minister Abena Osei-Asare to come respond to questions about some infractions as contained in the 2017 Auditor General's report. And currently, we are expecting the Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Rekubrobe, before the committee, leading a number of representatives from various agencies under that ministry to come respond to questions. On the floor itself, sitting began about an hour ago, and as we speak, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, is on the floor responding to questions about the burning of excavators and why the government has resorted to doing that as part of the fight against illegal mining activities. Let me just quickly quote to you very briefly a few points that he's been making on the floor of the House, even as he responds to that specific question that's come from Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, who is actually the Member of Parliament for North Tongue and also ranking member on Parliament Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. Samuel Abu-Jinapor makes the point that when it comes to the burning of excavators, the legal justification for that has to do with the fact that they actually, when you look at Article 36(9) of the Constitution, it forms part of the directive principles of state policy, and it's supposed to guide the citizenry, and it's very specific. Mr. Jinapor says that the state shall take appropriate measures needed to protect and safeguard the national environment for posterity and shall seek cooperation with other state bodies for the purpose of protecting the wider international environment for mankind. And so he's been quoting this extensively, defending the burning of excavators and insisting that he doesn't see a reason why an excavator should be sitting beside water bodies to even be burned down in the first place. And the minority MPs are clearly not happy with the responses that he's been giving, and they've been challenging that justification that he's given. And so he is still on the floor, even as the House questions him further on that particular issue. A little later in the day, we're expecting a report on the implementation of the Right to Information Bill, to be laid by the Information Minister, Kojo Ponkroma, right on the floor as well. So those are some of the items. The House started sitting sometime after 3 p.m., and it's one of the days that they didn't sit in the morning, although a lot of MPs have been complaining that it looks like they themselves are not abiding by time, even after they moved the sitting from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. Gifty.
Joseph, looks like a full bouquet that you have to deal with there. We'll leave you to it. And of course, we know that you bring us updates in our subsequent bulletins. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, and he joined me live from Parliament. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty, and up here. How about we do a very quick break? We return shortly with some more. We'll take you to Agboboloshi Market. We'll tell you about the plans to move them from Ajen Kotoku and how far we have come. We'll also take you to the London market, meat market, so you have an idea just how well the meat you consume at home is prepared. The CID has also been announcing a number of names relating or in relation to the bullion van attacks we've witnessed in this country this year. We have all of that and more coming up after this break. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. Now, 22 people, including 6 Nigerians, have been declared wanted by the Ghana Police Service in relation to the Adedenkpo murder, among others. Updating the media on the status of investigations on the state of recent robberies and murder cases, Commissioner of Police and Director of CID, COP Isaac Ken Yeboah, said the notorious criminals can run, but they could not hide.
In respect of the robbery cases which happened or occurred at Adedenkpo, Honey Circle, just opposite the fire service, Aburi, and some other places, some people have been declared wanted by the police. We strongly believe that they are members of the gang recruited by Abrefa and his boys. The following people have been declared wanted by the police. Some of them, we have their pictures and it will be given to you by my PR. Aaron, you see, sometimes we are unable to get their full names. They use aliases because in a group, they always, in a criminal gang, they don't use their real names. Aaron, he was involved in the attack on Honorable Kandapa some time ago. Rafiu, he's a Nigerian. Another guy called Pump Action, also a Nigerian. Another one, Advert. Obina, a Nigerian. Sunday Chubazo, a Nigerian. Sule, Jordan, Bebe, Isa Salami, Ahmed Ali, Christian. This guy is in Christian. He recce's the bank. When people go to the bank, he will recce and provide information to some of the suspects we have arrested and others at large for them to attack them. If you remember at the intersection around the National Theatre, some people were attacked around Kaokudi. They attacked some people and took their monies. So he is the informant. Hakim, a very notorious armed robber. You will get his picture. They can all run, but they can't hide. Aziz, his nickname is Baluz. When the Muslim or the Hausas say Baluz, it means that you have to succeed. Balus. Then we have another one called BP. He's also a Nigerian. Vincent, also a Nigerian. Then we have Audu, he's at Ashaman. Alassan, also at Ashaman. Sagio Sambri at Asuchari Junction. Jaco Elias Dogo, he's also at Afienya. And then there is another Hakim. So there are two Hakims. We will provide you with some of their pictures so that you help us get them.
Commissioner Ken Yeboah also said 3 persons of nomadic herdsmen extraction have been jailed 20 years each and have yet to be charged for the murder of the Member of Parliament for Mfantiman East, Eko Kwanzaa.
On the robbery and murder of the late Honorable Eko Kwanzaa Hayford, the former MP for Mfantiman. It will be recalled that on 8th of October 2020, at about 11 p.m., armed robbers attacked, robbed and killed the then sitting MP, Member of Parliament for Mfantiman East, the late Honorable Eko Kwanzaa Hayford. Investigation was taken over by the CID headquarters, and some suspects were initially arrested while his mobile phone was retrieved in Kumasi. Whilst investigation was ongoing, some armed robbers, numbering about 6, attacked vehicles on the Jacobo Obuasi Highway on the 11th of May 2021. They were charged with the robbery based on the fact of the May 11th, 2021 incident. That is the robbery, the highway robbery that took place on the Jacobo Obuasi Road. And on 18th of June this year, after the trial, they were convicted and sentenced to 20 years imprisonment each. All the convicts are to be arraigned before court in respect of the robbery and murder of the late Honorable Eko Kwanzaa Hayford. It means that we are now going to charge them and try them for the murder of the Honorable Eko Kwanzaa Hayford.
Well, the police CID also say that they've retrieved over 2,000 live ammunition yesterday from Ntwaso upon a tip-off by a robbery gang headed by a notorious robber, Nana Abrifa.
Part of the security measures adopted by the police administration under the new anti-armed robbery task force strategy to curb robberies and other violent crimes in the country, intelligence from a source had indicated that some armed robbers were in possession of arms and ammunition and had concealed them at Ntwaso, a town in the eastern region. In response to the intelligence gathered, the team from the National Operations Directorate, Surveillance Unit, and other combat patrol teams were dispatched to the locations to retrieve the said weapons. On reaching the location, the suspected robbers took to their heels on seeing the police. The team began a search at the premises, and in the process, one of the suspected armed robbers, yet to be identified, who was hiding in the nearby room, opened fire on the police and hit the hand of one of our officers, injuring his 2 fingers in the process. The police officer is on admission at the police hospital at the moment. The police also responded accordingly and gunned down the suspect robber while the other escaped arrest. We were, however, able to arrest one again,
And then when the team were moving from the place to headquarters, one of the suspects attempted to snatch the weapon on one of the policemen, and then he was also gunned down. So 2 persons were gunned down yesterday, and these are the items that were retrieved from them.
COP Kenya Bois, Director General of the CID. Now, stakeholders in the fishing sector have entreated government to put in some more effort at fighting illegal fishing activities alongside implementation of the close season to help better the sector's fortunes. According to them, efforts at implementing the close season will only lead to positive gains quickly if the fight against illegal fishing activities are intensified. There is more in this report.
Speaking at a press conference ahead of the 2021 closed fishing season, Executive Director of Friends of the Nation, Don Chris Mevuta, said the closed fishing season, which is aimed at rebuilding the dwindling fish stock, must be supported by other management measures such as controlling overcapacity, limiting the number of boats on the sea to sustainable levels, and stopping all forms of illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing.
The ministry's approach of directly engaging key fisher associations in deciding the dates for this year's closure is in line with scientific recommendations and is commendable. The close season under Section 84 of the Fisheries Act 2002, Act 625, is intended to reduce effort and overexploitation and fish stock replenishment in Ghana's maritime waters. This measure is a major step towards rebuilding the fisheries marine stock that sustained the livelihood of over 2.7 million Ghanaians. As partners on the IFG project, we believe that the close season, which is aimed at rebuilding the dwindling fish stocks, must be supported by other management issues and measures such as controlling overcapacity, limiting the number of boats on the sea to sustainable levels, and stopping all forms of illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing.
They urged Fishing Commission to immediately implement recommendations in the Gear Audit Report and ensure industrial trawlers play by the rules.
As recommended in the 2020 Scientific Technical Working Group report, the close season should be implemented in combination with effective enforcement of existing laws, including but not limited to mesh size control and strict enforcement of the law on light, dynamite, and chemicals for this and future closures to be biologically beneficial. Of note, replenishing the depleted marine will not happen or cannot be achieved if cycle fishing continues unchecked. This illegality, together with other forms of IUU fishing, undermines the needed enabling environment for juvenile fish to grow. Reports have shown that in 2017 alone, cycle trade took from the sea about 100,000 tons of fish, worth over $50 million, when sold at the landing site. These fishes were predominantly juveniles. Reports from both civil society organizations and academia has shown that juvenile fish constitute over 90% of cycle landings. We note that while the close season will allow the fishes to lay eggs, cycle fishing will significantly undermine the close season. It is therefore important for MOFAD and the Fisheries Commission to ensure that industrial trawl vessels land all their catches at the 2 designated ports in Takoradi and Takoradi to allow inspection of their catches.
The conference was under the theme Improving Fisheries Governance in Ghana and the wider sub-region project. It has been implemented by a consortium of partners in the fishing industry.
Well, let's have a quick conversation on the back of this, the close season, which takes effect from tomorrow, the 1st of July. Kofi Agboga is the director of Henim Puano, a partner on the Improving Fisheries Governance project. Mr. Agboga, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me.
Right. The last time the closed season was to be implemented, we know that it wasn't an easy conversation to have. Have fishers or fisher folk now accepted it as a necessary action to take to protect the sector?
Thank you very much. I think this push for closed season started way back in 2018, and initially there was a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of pushback from fishers. But gradually through engagements, they came to understand that it is the best way to go, as it has taken place in other countries, and they are yielding the benefits. In 2019, we had the first major closed season for artisanal canoes and also the industrial trawlers. The only problem with that was that the timing was not the best, but it was a very good beginning for fishers to know that they can go on a 1-month closed season without too much of hassles. So here we are in 2021. Fishers have accepted that the closed season must come on at the most biologically significant time. That is the time when fishes are spawning or reproducing. And just to let you know that when the weather gets this cold, it is the time that triggers the reproduction and population of the sea. So between now and August ending, all the way into September, we think that if we let the sea lie low and cool off, we will be getting some gains. However, it does not mean when the season is open, then there will be much fish in the sea. We have to continue with the closed season year on year in order that we make some gains, especially during the biologically significant period. But as was earlier said during the press conference, we cannot have this closed season and immediately we open, everybody goes in there to scoop out everything using mosquito nets, small mesh size, all the illegalities. So the fishers themselves have agreed that the Fisheries Commission and the ministry should be able to enforce the laws and regulations after.
Hello, Mr. Agboga. Okay, it looks like I've lost Mr. Agboga there, but let me go on the phone line now. I have the PRO for the Greater Accra Region branch of the Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council, Nene Divine Obubuafo. Hi, Nene. Nene, let's begin with your expectations for this particular closed season. I was just talking to Mr. Agboga, who indicated that it looks like we have made some gains in the past. What are your expectations of this particular season and what gain it will bring to you as farmers, as fishers, I beg your pardon? Okay, well, sincere apologies with that one as well. We will try and reach Nene back on the line. But Ms. Agboga, are you there? I lost you briefly.
Yeah.
Yes, you were wrapping up your point about the gains we have made, which is something that somehow has convinced the fisher folk that this is the way to go.
Yes, during the previous closed season, there were signs that the fisheries were recovering. But then this recovery that we made was hampered by the fact that the trawlers go out there and scoop out everything and sell it out to some business fishermen who go out to meet them at sea and collect those small fishes that ordinarily will come down for fishers to catch. In 2017, studies that we did suggested that there was about 100,000 metric tons of these small fish that were sold. If these fish were allowed to grow, even double the size, we will be getting in the neighborhood of 200,000 metric tons of fish. And all this will inure to the benefit of the canoe fishermen across the breadth of the country. So the poverty that is going on in the fishery sector is because the fishermen are not getting the fish that they are supposed to catch. And all these are being caught by the trawlers. So what they are asking for now is that if the close season is to come on and we have to make some significant gains, immediately it is open, all the illegal methods of fishing, light, dynamite, small mesh size, the psycho fishing and the others should all be a thing of the past, so that all of us will at least be happy that our seas are open and can serve our fishers.
Ms. Agboga, thank you so much for your time, and I'm hopeful that this season will be beneficial. Professor Yangsin, who used to be a strong advocate, is no longer with us today, but I'm sure that it will make him happy as well if we are able to go through this successfully. Kofi Agboga is the director for Henempwano. It's an NGO that focuses on the fishing industry. Now, over 350 meat sellers at the London market here in Accra do not have medical certificates. And that's a discovery by public health inspectors of the AMA as they stormed the market this morning. The visit by the team as part of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign revealed flagrant disregard for COVID-19 protocols, as many of them were not wearing face masks. The meat was being dressed in a dilapidated structure overtaken by cobwebs.
Last week we were at the slaughterhouse at Aveno. Well, after the slaughtering is done, well, it enters the meat market, and this is where we're going to inspect today.
My name is Sule Danlad.
Sule
Danlad.
Danlad.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sule Danlad, are you the head of the slaughterhouse, the meat shop here?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to find out, how many workers do you have in this particular meat shop?
I get to about more than 350.
350, roughly,
yeah,
almost 400.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm taking you through the process under which we are supposed to have started. When I entered here, I showed you my ID card. This is my ID card. I would like to see your AMA health certificate, and that certificate will be your guarantee and your document certifying that you are healthy to handle food for public consumption. I want to see if you have gone through that medication, then we can check from all your people. This is an example of it. I want to show you. This is what you are supposed to have. You see the passport there?
Yeah.
So when I come, I'm supposed to check you like you have my ID card here. Yeah. So you need to have this, and this will qualify you to handle the meat. Yeah. So you yourself, I want to see your card.
I will feel the but you get problem about that card.
Pardon?
You get problem about that card.
What is the problem?
The problem be AM people go come here say they're going to do that card. I go organize the people, everybody go give the money to them. If they took the money go, they're not going to bring this card again. I told everybody to come and do the thing because for that matter, some people they know the do. I tell them say, if we finish, I want them to tell something. If we finish do the card, therefore come around. Has the one you know do, I tell them say if the one you know do, therefore take and go court. I tell them.
So Sule Danlad, you can see that this is the meat shop. Just start from here. From here. And go around, look around the shop. Your room, are you getting me? Where you sleep, where they prepare food for you to eat. Okay, this is a replication of where you sleep, where they prepare food for you to eat in the house. And look at the condition here. Does it fit you? Does it fit you?
You start do that.
When you wake up this morning, you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You bath.
Yeah.
So this shop is the same thing like you yourself standing here. So every day, when did you people clean here? So will it be wrong for us to close the place?
First, all the puppies
so we're going to just try and get into the building with the team and then, look at the conditions for ourselves. Well, this is where your meat is prepared. This is where the meat you eat is prepared from. Well, last week we took you to the slaughterhouse, and today we are here.
And so I just get a bit closer to Mr. Asitanga so he could take us through. So this is where the butchery is done.
This is the second phase of the meat shop. So all these people are part of you people.
Exactly.
And this is the condition under which you are operating here.
Actually, yeah, we used to sell only the eggs,
only the
head, then intestine because of the water.
So everything AMA, everything government, you generate income here yourself, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. And this is where all of you work to take care of your family. Yes. So, what prevents you from taking your initiative, your own initiative, to develop this place, make it very nice? At least when you develop here and make it nice, it will also increase the quality of meat you are selling to the public. It will also do what? Attract the public that London Meat Shop is a safe place for you to go and buy meat. So if you are waiting for us to come, and we come, we will not allow this to be there. We will say stop, because you don't want to keep the place clean. For all of you operating here, nobody has any health certificate. You don't.
Health certificate.
Can I see yours?
The health certificate.
Can I see yours?
It has expired.
Yeah, yes. No. You say you have it. Look at this. This is 2015. It's expired.
This one is a new car, not a 2015.
No, but look at the time you did it. 2015.
This one.
Where?
Let me see. Let me check it. Some of them are expired already. No, part of it. We have 2015, the others, they are
look at.
We have it.
This is when? 2018.
But there's more to see here on the Joy Clean Ghana campaign as we get closer to the spot for inspection. So these are external drains that are outside the meat shop, and that's as you're seeing, choked by intestines of the animals and the carcasses that are sold.
Yeah, now today, after we have finished our this thing, you see there's a sand inside the drain. So you can, if you said we are going to move it out, they will say what do you call it? The tricycle people. They say they won't.
And that's the Joy Clean Ghana campaign will be coming to an area near you. Now, a 20-year struggle to relocate onion traders from the Agbogbloshie market finally became a reality. 5 groups numbering about 3,000 packed the remains of their stores for a new location at Ajenkotoku. After several weeks of negotiations, their exodus from Agbogbloshie shows a turning point for the Greater Accra Region Minister to facilitate a decongestion of the market under the Accra Must Work campaign. At the market this morning was my colleague Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson, who spent some time observing the process. Mamiesi is joining me via Zoom right now. Mamiesi, let's start with the process to decongest the area this morning. How did it go?
So it was a smooth exercise, actually. Gifty, when I got there this morning, I saw the traders dismantling their stalls by themselves. There wasn't any form of security personnel there to monitor or, look through, help them, bring down their stalls or their shelves. So at this moment, most of them are trying as much as possible to get their belongings to Ajenkotoku, which is their new location at the moment. Most of them had already gone, but the few that were remaining were still trying to pack their items and leave for Ajenkotoku before tomorrow.
Well, we understand that some of the traders had concerns about their transportation, but we know that there's been like 400,000 cedis allocated to that one.
Exactly. We understand that Greater Accra Regional Minister gave them 400,000 cedis cash 2 days ago to the chief imam to disperse to them to use as transportation. But this morning when we got there, most of the traders indicated that they hadn't received the money yet. But at this time, I just had information that their money is being dispatched to them. Some of them have grouped at the chief imam's, I understand, at the mosque near the area where there are people there sharing the money for them. They will take this money and use as transportation.
Mami? I've lost her there, but as you can see, those are visuals coming to you from the Agbogbloshie market as they dismantle their stores, getting ready to move to Ajay Kotoku. The pulse is still here with me, Gifty and Opia. A quick break. We're right back to stay. And this is where we do Let's Talk Showbiz, how we wrap up the entire show. You can hop onto myjoyonline.com where there is more news. Our top story, Akufo-Addo instructs Interior Minister to undertake public inquiry into incidents in EJURA is our biggest story. And of course, you've got Shatta Wale there talking about Fix the Country movement people. You've got the protest and update from EJURA as well. So many stories there. You can share it, and we have our handles through which you can share the content with your contacts so they know what's going on. My name is Gifty, and Pierre, God willing, will be here again tomorrow.